I love it.
Try it.
Okay. Kim, are you good? Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone out to our Layton City Council meeting this evening. Today is August 1st, so welcome to a new month of summer heat. But as customary with our council meetings, we do like to start out with a pledge and a prayer, or a prayer and a pledge, however we decide. And so each month we change that around. And this month it is my turn. So I would like to start with a prayer first, and then we'll do the pledge. So if you would allow me now at this time, please bow your head. Our Father in heaven, we're indeed grateful to be able to gather here as the governing body of this great city of Layton. We're thankful for all the folks that we have that work tirelessly in this city as employees and staff to be able to continue to make this city the great place that it is. We're very grateful tonight for the many folks that have given many, many hours and years of service. We ask thee to please bless our first responders and all of those that are on the front lines to be able to protect us. And we pray that going forward, we will continue to be able to be protected. We ask a special blessing upon not only this city, but the entire state and our country. And we ask at this time for all of us to acknowledge the importance of the ability to unite together and stand together as one nation. And we pray this evening again for thy blessing to be upon this body, to be able to act in the most appropriate manner and decisions we need to keep this city moving forward. And we say these things dearly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, if you would mind rising with me to say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you again, everyone, for being here tonight. I hope that doesn't cough. As at this time, we'd like to go ahead and make any municipal announcements that might be taking place within our city. So typically we have a few from our Parks and Rec representative, Councilmember Roberts.
Call me Mr. It's okay.
Mr.
Thank you, Mayor. I know we met since Liberty Days, but we have such a big group of employees. I want to add the thanks that we did last time for our Liberty Days celebration. So many employees are all hands on deck to have a safe celebration, and want to say thank you to all of you and those that are not in the room as well. It's always great to celebrate in Layton, and we had a few big celebrations in the month of July, in the 4th of July and Pioneer Days celebrations. So thank you. As far as announcements, every Friday evening, 5:30 to 9 p.m., Fest is happening here in Constitution Circle, and with entertainment, food trucks, games, lots of family fun, and ending with a movie in the amphitheater every week. This week it's Lyle Crocodile, so it should be fun. Also, a family rec event coming up the end of the month, Friday, August 30th. We'll have our end of summer bash. So more info to come on that, but it's always a good party. So thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I do have one announcement. I made it last meeting, but I'll make it again. On Thursday, August 22nd, here in the amphitheater, the Layton Communities That Care is going to be sponsoring a free movie screening called Screenagers. This is a free event. It's for teenagers, parents, and community members. And this event is going to kind of amplify the issues around vaping that we have in not just our community, but in the entire state, and also how the digital age affects that. And so this is a free screening, just to bring more awareness to what is happening and how we as parents and concerned members of the community can help our teens stay away from these types of things. We'll have some snacks and other things that you could participate in. There will be $25 gift card raffles. And if there happen to be any students who do need citizenship recovery, they can also talk to their counselors at their school if they attend this and get some citizenship recovery credit. So that will be on Thursday, August 22nd, and it will be at 7 p.m. If you want to RSVP, you can send an email to Megan H, MEGANH, at dbhutah.org. And this information is posted on the Davis Behavioral Health website, and also see if we can get it on the city site. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Does anyone else have any announcements? Okay, I'm actually going to jump in. This is kind of a fun and wonderful opportunity. It doesn't happen too often. And this just came about today, so council, bear with me on also understanding this announcement. But as many of you know, we have a local Olympian, Courtney Wymant, who qualified for the Olympics in the steeplechase. And she has to do her time trial at 2 a.m. on August 4th. So we're being very optimistic, and on behalf of the city, and I want to encourage anybody and everybody, and especially all of the track teams from all of our schools here within our boundaries, and actually anyone from northern Utah would be great. But we'd like to plan a watch party for the final medal run, which will be held on Tuesday, the 6th. At this time, the Olympic posting time on Mountain Standard Time will be at 1:14. So what we're going to plan is a big event out there at our new rotunda that we have in our Commons Park. And we'd love to have everybody come out early. I mean, probably starting, Mr. Price, what time do you think? About 12:30? Okay, so a good 45 minutes early. Please come out, enjoy the fun, take some pictures with the Olympic rings, and just really show the support. I mean, this is worldwide news, and it's fun to know that we have an Olympian that grew up right here within our city, went to all of our schools here locally, and then went on to Weber State and BYU. So again, that's for Courtney Wymant on Tuesday. So we'd love everyone to be here. One other thing that I'd like to make known, and this is another public event, and many of you probably realize that when it comes to sanitary systems, Layton City is part of the North Davis Sewer District, and they've been working on a large project. It's a pump house that will actually help with the water that's going into the Great Salt Lake. So the water's been cleaned, purified, and they have actually, this has been a 2-year project. And if you guys went out to Antelope Island at all during the last couple of years, you saw construction along the causeway. Well, what was taking place was this big 63-inch pipe that was being laid along the causeway so that all of that good clean water that's coming out of the sewer plant there is getting diverted out into Gilbert Bay. So they're going to have a big open house out there at their facility. They welcome the public to come. It will be on August 21st from 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you've never toured a facility like that, now's your chance. So with that, I'll go ahead and come back to our regularly scheduled meeting. And we've got some presentations tonight that we're all excited about and appreciate. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Mr. Tracy Probert, who's sitting in for our city manager, Alex Jensen, tonight. So, Tracy.
Mayor, members of the council, and everyone here tonight, Mr. Jensen, our city manager, apologized for not being able to be here. Of course, this is one of his favorite types of meetings because he, as you all know, he loves meeting with the employees, and especially when he can give recognition to them. So again, he apologizes for not being here. As the mayor mentioned, we're going to give out some years of service awards for those who have 20 or more years of service. It's amazing that someone can work in one place for 20 years. And of course, all of these individuals, as I look down the list, are outstanding individuals. And they've also been written up a little bit, not written up in a bad way, but you know, a little write-up has been given to me about each of them from their department directors, supervisors, managers. So as I do some introductions, I'll go through those. Before we do that, I'd just like to first, on behalf of the city administration and our city manager, Alex Jensen, thank each and every one of the employees that are here, especially those that are here to be recognized for their years of service for all of those years and for their dedication to the city. At this time, I'd also like to thank their families. These individuals, all of us here, don't get 20 years of service or more than that without the support of the people that, you know, love us and or even just like us. And so it's very important to recognize those people because oftentimes we're here at work more than we are at home. And that's a big sacrifice in order to support the citizens in the city. And the city very much appreciates that. I'm sure the mayor and council would express that as well as we go through that. Tonight, we have 10 individuals to recognize, and we'd like to recognize each of you individually. The mayor and council would also like to congratulate each of you individually. So after I read your small introduction, if you would walk up around here so that everyone here could shake your hand and congratulate you, that would be much appreciated. So first we have Sergeant Michael Beavers. Sergeant Beavers always has a positive attitude and smile on his face. Over the course of his 20 years, he's served as a patrol officer, field training officer, motor officer, detective, and currently is a patrol sergeant. Mike has also served in several collateral duty assignments, shotgun armorer, honor guard, firearms instructor, and SWAT. As a patrol officer, Mike is an exemplary employee, and we're grateful to have him. Mayor and council, I present Sergeant Michael Beavers with 20 years of service. Thank you.
You're still on the clock.
One time. Thank you. Next, we have Sergeant Tracy Holcomb. Sergeant Holcomb has spent his whole law enforcement career in Layton, and much of it has been in roles where he can train and mentor others. He's been involved in the department's firearms program for many years and is the lead firearms instructor, managing all parts of that program. He was promoted to sergeant in 2020 and currently directs all in-service training as the department's training sergeant. His stern appearance can be deceiving because he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Mayor and council, Sergeant Tracy Holcomb, 20 years of service. Thank you.
Show that smile.
Next, we have Isabel or Belle Puafua, also from the police department. Belle began her career with Layton City in June 2004 and has held several positions with the police department. She served in dispatch, records, and since October 2012 as the administrative assistant for the Davis Metro Narcotics Strike Force. Bell is the longest tenured member of the strike force and is often sought after for her assistance and expertise in the day-to-day management of the office. Her daily positive attitude and patience are key ingredients to the task force success. Bell works closely with a variety of federal, state, and local partners, always showcasing the professionalism and expertise of Layton City and the strike force. Mayor and Council, Bell Puafu with 20 years of service. Next, we have Kristen Eklund from the Police Department. Kristen was hired as a police records technician in June 1999. Kristen spent 5 years as an administrative assistant for the Davis Metro Narcotics Strike Force before being promoted to police records manager in 2012. Kristen is recognized as an expert in the field of police records. Kristen trains every police officer that is hired and spends the majority of every day helping others, both in our department as well as other departments throughout the county. Kristen is content to be behind the scenes. However, she is one of the key people responsible for the success of the police department. Kristen has served the city for 25 years. Mayor and Council, I present Kristen Eklund.
Thank you.
Awesome. This is the response you'll get anytime you ask Chief Ward how he's doing. We have Chief Kevin Ward. He is one of the most genuine and friendly people that I have ever met, who truly cares about the people that he works with. Kevin Ward has been serving as the fire chief for Layton City since 2004. Chief Ward started his emergency services career in Los Angeles County in 1977. Graduating from UCLA Daniel Freeman Paramedic School and working for the city of Laverne for a private EMS provider. He then spent a few years in Weber County. Prior to joining Layton City, Chief Ward served over 23 years with the Chandler Fire Department, rising through the ranks and retiring as battalion chief. He served 2 terms as president of the Utah State Fire Chiefs Association and currently serves as the secretary-treasurer of the Utah Joint Council on Fire Service Organizations and as a Utah representative to the Western Fire Chiefs Association. Chief Ward is an adjunct faculty member for Utah Valley University Fire and Rescue Academy, serving as a command training center and fire officer instructor since 2006. He's a member of the Fire Shows West Education Committee, is a regular attender of the National Fire Academy, the former chair of the Utah Fire Officers Designation Program. He's serving his 4th term as an at-large elected member of the Board of Trustees for the Weber Fire District and is current board chair. Chief Ward has a Bachelor of Arts in Fire Service Administration and has held national wildfire coordinating group qualifications as a Type 3 incident commander, strike team leader, and structure protection specialist. This is only part of the list of accolades for Chief Kevin Ward. More important than all of this, I'm told Chief Ward and his wife Penny just celebrated their 45th wedding anniversary. They have 8 children, 11 grandchildren that they all love and support and are very proud of. Chief Ward has served Layton City for 20 years. Mayor and Council, I present Chief Kevin Ward.
Did you write that?
From Parks and Recreation, we have Ryan Pickup, our Parks Superintendent. Ryan was hired as a Parks Specialist in 2004. He immediately demonstrated a strong work ethic, and leadership abilities. He was quickly promoted to Parks Foreman, Parks Supervisor, and in 2014, Parks Superintendent. He is responsible for the day-to-day operations of Layton City's parks, trails, open spaces, and facilities. He and his staff maintain 300 acres of developed parks, 250 acres of underdeveloped natural open spaces, and 20 miles of trails. Ryan and his staff also support our city festivals and recreational programs, including holiday lighting, Liberty Days, Pioneer Days, and many others. Ryan has played an essential role in developing the new park shop facilities, which are currently under construction. One of Ryan's greatest strengths is his ability to connect personally with his staff. He enjoys working with his staff, and they in turn enjoy working with him. Mayor and Council, I present Ryan Pickup with 20 years of service.
Did we hire you in that shirt?
Next, from Public Works, we have Johnny Gallegos. Johnny's our Public Works storm drain lead, ensuring that storm drain and land drain systems are properly maintained. He's also a key in assisting our streets division when we have large asphalt projects. He's a very dependable and loyal employee who loves Layton City and the Public Works Department, and they love him. I'm pretty confident that during his 40-year career, he has never missed a snowstorm to plow our streets. Another critical role Johnny plays is training all of our new employees in obtaining their commercial driver's license. He's very patient and helpful, making sure they know everything they need for a safe pre-trip inspection, and then spends a lot of time teaching them how to operate our large vehicles safely to ensure they're ready for their final test and that they are safe while operating on city streets. Johnny Gallegos has 40 years of service with Layton City. Congratulations, Johnny. We have three other individuals that weren't able to attend tonight, but I will mention them. Karen Nilsson with the Fire Department has 20 years of service. Gene Park with our Facilities Division in Finance, 20 years of service. And Darren Taylor with Public Works Water Division with 25 years of service. Thank you to everyone, and thank you for everyone that's coming.
Yes. I have to say, Alex missed out on a good night. And thank you, everyone. I mean, this is just so rewarding to just hear not only your dedication and service to the cities and each one of your departments, but more importantly, just you're the family. You're what makes up this city the way it does. And we have to say thank you for that. And I know there's been many times I personally have gotten calls, have only had to make one call. That's all. You guys are on it. You jump on it regardless of what we need, and I appreciate it. And I know even just more recently, I had a call on Sunday afternoon on a tree that had fallen. 8 a.m. the next morning, this group was on it and had it cleared up. So thank you. And I can name numerous other things that I know each one of you have stepped up and be willing to again, make Layton the greatest place it is, and I appreciate it. So I am actually going to turn some time over to our council because I know that they do want to chime in on this and say thank you. And tonight, it's fun to see this many folks here in the seats, but you know, the camaraderie within your departments. I mean, we had what, 8 of them that you presented, and this chambers are full. So thank you for showing your friendship and your dedication to your fellow employees, staff, excuse me. Okay, council?
Council?
Yeah.
My voice is not very good tonight, but it wasn't very good before, so who cares? I worked here for 30 years. I know all these individuals. Some I don't know as well as the others. Gallegos, I think he was here when I was in high school. But one thing I can say, and I think I can say it because of my experience, there are a lot of cities out there that have good people, but there is not a better city of employees than right here in Layton. And I would put my life on that because I've experienced it. And it makes me proud to go places and they say, oh, you're from Layton. And I want to reply, damn right, I'm from Layton because of what it is. And you guys have made it. You're the people that have made this city what this city is. And it hasn't come
From us.
I mean, we sit up here and say yay and nay and yes and no, but you guys are the ones that's where the rubber meets the road, and I am so proud. So take it for what it's worth. I'm not the greatest guy in the world, but I like you guys and girls.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Johnny, you have been in Layton City longer than I've been alive. So that's something else. It's amazing, and I echo what Councilman Thomas said. Just coming in here and hearing from when I first got elected about the Layton staff and Layton employees, and it all turned out to be true. Everything that they told us about how strong they were, how supportive they were, how they carry on the mantle of the city throughout the whole city, because we're the 6 people that are elected representatives, but you are really Layton City because you're the ones who are interacting with our residents every day, of which all of us are residents. So you serve us too. And we're just very grateful for you. So those who have been here for 40 years or those who have been here shorter time, we just know that as a council and a mayor council, that we think and ponder and analyze how we can best support the staff. And so please know that we always have those thoughts within our minds, and that this is what community is about. That you hear stuff on the news about politics and all that nonsense. That's not what city politics is. City politics is about neighborhoods, it's about community, and we can't build the city that we want to build and keep it the way we want it without all of your help. So just want to just echo what Councilman Thomas said. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. If you've been here and you probably have all been here for somebody else before, because this is what happens when we have these service awards is that the place is full for only a handful of people who are getting the award. That says a lot about each one of you, and not only family members who share your spouse or your dad or your mom or your aunt or your uncle or with all of us, but also your fellow employees. It speaks volumes of the camaraderie here in the city. If there was one thing that I could just drill into every resident of Layton City, is that the reason that the city exists is to provide services to our residents. And those services are provided by people. And those people are you. And so I wish people understood that. I wish people would not only understood it, but appreciate the fact that we have so many employees here in Lake City providing services that people take for granted. I don't. This council doesn't. Mayor doesn't. And so this is a safe space here tonight. We appreciate all that you do. And if this is the only place you get to hear a thank you, I'm sorry, but thank you. We appreciate and love each one of you and all that you do to help keep us safe, to keep the water flowing, to keep the storm drains go, to keep the sewer going where it's supposed to go, the roads, the parks, the open space, all of it, all of it. It takes all of you to make this city the great city that Mayor Petro prayed about tonight. So once again, thank you for those who were acknowledged this evening, and for each one of you. We truly appreciate each one of you. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Roberts?
Thank you, Mayor. It's funny. I was just thinking about something I wrote when I ran for city council. I put it on my website. I said, I'm a product of Layton City. And when I come to a meeting like this, that hits home. It's a nice saying that you say when you're running for an office or something. But when I see all these people in the audience, it really hits home what that means to me. Growing up in Layton, I see a lot of familiar faces, maybe a few more firemen that maybe showed up when I had a bigger fire than I planned on the farm, or public works. I've had a few meetings with Paul when my water went when it wasn't where it wasn't supposed to go. But just going off what Council Member Zach said, Council Member Zach Bloxham used the word community, and I've always loved that word because it's part of what I am, and I love Layton, and I know that the people in this room that have been dedicated for so many years, and so many more employees that aren't here tonight, that have built that community, not only for where I grew up, but where I'm raising my kids now. So thank you for all you do, your dedication, and making it a great community.
Well, and I just want to say my voice is a little off today as well, as you can hear, but I'll echo everything that has been said, and even more close to home on behalf of my family. My kids are here tonight because they wanted to come to the council meeting, and for them to just be able to see all of the people who help them to do the things they want to do when they're wanting to go to surf and swim, like we've been twice in the past week, when they want to go to the parks, when they want to, anything that they do in this city is really only made possible because of people in this room and the others who are not here tonight who work for the city. And so we are just very grateful for your service. I mean, 40 years, wow, that's all I can say, because that's not a normal thing anymore. 20 years is not even normal in one place. So for all of you to be able to experience being in one organization for 20 years and being there long enough shows us that you care about the city. You love the city enough to stay. And so I'm grateful for all of the employees that are here tonight, those who are honored, as well as those who are here to support. And we love this city, and we're glad that you love it as well. And we want to do whatever we can to make sure that the rest of you who need the 20 years will get that 20 years. We're just glad that you're here, and we're grateful for your service. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
I just have to bring up one topic here, only because, Bettina, you mentioned how much I love Layton. I think now would be the most appropriate time to actually say this. Do you want to? Are you sure? Because I asked you to. Okay. One thing I failed to mention on the Olympic watch party, we need to wear I Love Layton shirts. Everybody's been given one or has had an opportunity to get them. And you talk about showing the world how much we love our city. That's what I'm saying I'm willing to do. And I can't say it enough. I truly love this city. And I love each and every one of you for what you've done. And I hope those folks watching tonight can appreciate your dedication and service to this city as well. So again, thank you, everyone. I think they need another round of applause.
You forgot your last sentence.
Okay, finish it.
Dismissed.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome to get up, even though we only have one item on the agenda. So thank you. Right? Thank you for teeing that up, Bettina. There was 5. Okay, perhaps as they're exiting the room, are you okay back there? Maybe I better wait until the doors are closed.
You want to grab those doors after you leave?
Okay, well, we'll just speak a little loud in here.
Okay.
I think that was appropriate tonight for you guys to see how much we really do care about our city. And speaking about caring about our cities, we actually like to hear from our citizens. So at this point in our meeting, we'll go ahead and have our citizens comment portion. Now, if there's an item on the agenda that we have later, which we do have one other item, and you want to speak to that item, I'm willing to allow that to happen, being that we only have one. But if there's anyone that would like to address this governing body, please do so at this time. Okay, seeing that there's none, we'll go ahead and proceed with our meeting tonight. We have one consent item, which will be presented by Mr. Chad Wilkinson. It's regarding the subdivision, the Anderson Legacy subdivision at 2650 East Gentile Street. So, Mr. Wilkinson.
Thanks, Mayor, Council. This is a fairly straightforward, although I don't want to minimize the effort that's been put into this application. This is a conceptual plan approval for a subdivision in our sensitive lands overlay. Sensitive lands overlay is an area, various areas in the city that have issues such as slope, floodplain, things that give them some special consideration. In this case, it's slope that we're here to talk about. The property is located about 2650 East Gentile over the east part of our city. This is an aerial photo of that property. You can see it outlined in red. You can see that the property is located there along Gentile, slopes very, very quickly and steeply towards Holmes Creek Irrigation Reservoir there to the south and east of the property. So again, the reason for this meeting today is that our ordinance requires some pretty rigorous review of these lots when we approve a sensitive lands lot for development. In this case, this is a one-lot subdivision. That's a little bit unusual, but the ordinance requires that sensitive land properties be within recorded lots, so they can be authorized for development. That's what we've got here tonight. You can see from the exhibit that I just put up on the screen, the slope of the property, the red slope area, the red areas of the map are slopes over 30%. So you can see there's some very steep areas of this lot sloping down towards that reservoir. You can see that they've outlined an area where a home could be potentially built on the lot. This has gone through a rigorous review of a geotechnical report that was submitted by the applicant's representatives, the applicant's consultants, reviewed by the city's third-party consultant after some back and forth efforts to correct some things or to make some suggestions that could improve that report. The report's been approved by our third-party consultant. We're here tonight for the first of a few steps. This is the conceptual plan approval. This does require multiple reviews just to make sure that we have our eyes on this from the very beginning of the process through the process to make sure that we approve a lot that has the highest likelihood of success in building on these steep slope areas. So this has been reviewed by staff thoroughly by our third-party consultant. It was reviewed by the Planning Commission on July 9th. They voted unanimously that the council approved this concept plan for Anderson Legacy subdivision, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Okay, council, do you have questions?
I just have one question. In the background for the packet, most of the comments that came from the departments had dates of like June 2024, July 2024, but there was one from the fire marshal, deputy fire marshal to community development that was back in May of 2023. Do you know when this process started for this?
It's been going on for quite some time. Yeah, that first step is that submittal of that geotechnical report. That takes some time to review. There's back and forth between the consultants. So I'd have to look for the application date, but it has been going on for quite some time.
Okay, I was just wondering because that was the only one that was that far back, like over a year, but everything else seemed to happen more recently.
And the fire department's comments in this particular case, they are more toward the end of the process. When they get ready to build on the lot, that's when their comments will really kick in. So they don't have a lot to say at this beginning stage, so they haven't submitted any updated comments. One thing I will also mention is that you'll notice in the engineering comments, there's a number of those that are strike through text. That's because those are items that have been resolved or addressed in subsequent submittals.
Okay. Other questions, council?
The home to the east, just curiosity because it's similar topography. Has that been there a while? It's been there quite some time, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
And
I'm not sure exactly when we could look at the old aerial photos, but it's been there quite a while.
That's what I thought. So, as far as the geotech recommendations, is there any major differences of how they would do a foundation, pylons, or anything on that buildable area?
Yeah, they've got some specific recommendations related to observations that the geotech will be a part of the excavation of the foundation is going to require. Actually, even before we issue a permit, there's some need for some observation by the consultant that's been hired by the private owner of this property to do some review of that even before the building permits. So they'll dig those trenches for the foundation before we even put forms in there for them. They'll go out and do some additional observation to make sure everything's shipshape. As far as the piers, I'm not 100% certain about whether the piers were a recommendation requirement or not, but I could look that up pretty quickly. So,
all right, thank you.
Chad, regarding the third-party consultant, is that simply because it's a hyper-technical, geotechnical, like, expertise, not something the city has necessarily staff to handle? Is that what the purpose of the third party?
Yes, certainly. We have our city engineering staff that are very skilled. This is a very, very specific type of specialty in engineering. So that's part of it. The other part, though, is to give a neutral third party, right? So that it's not, so that we make sure that the applicant knows that this is not something that the city's doing to be arbitrary. We've gone to someone that's an expert in this field and sought their opinion on this. So it gives that, again, it's kind of like the referee, just to say, we're trying to make sure that we're being fair. That process does take time. So, yeah.
And there's nothing, I guess, in terms of the city's liability indemnification, I guess, would be that we're approving this as if we were doing it ourselves with the third party.
No, we don't have any liability on that. This is but part of that process is that the geotechnical professionals take on that responsibility. Yep.
So, are there any legal reasons why we use the third party in addition to it being hyper-technical, or is it just kind of how we go about doing business.
And I'll defer to Jaden if she wants to chime in as well. But I think part of it is what I explained. We want to have that neutral third party that can look at this and make sure that we're not being arbitrary in our comments. I think part of it, though, is again that these are professionals that are designing this. We certainly acknowledge just by our ordinance that this is an area that needs additional scrutiny, and that's really important in this case. That we want to make sure that this parcel has the highest chance of success of a building being built on this parcel that will not slide off the hill, and so we're taking that additional step to make sure that happens. And again, one of the challenges you have is we have a consultant that works for the applicant, and they should advocate for the applicant. That's their job, and we want to have someone that can advocate for the city's rules and regulations. And that third party geotechnical engineer also gives someone that can just be an advocate for what's the right thing to do for the best practices, and so that's their purpose.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Not related to the subdivision itself, but this photo is before the frontage road. This is photos from 1986. It's a joke, but it is old.
Yeah. There's a new road.
Yeah, you can see
there's a new road
now.
There's a tractor. There's some kind of excavator working up there.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Yeah.
But the reason I mention it is I rolled by here today and I wasn't speeding. I promise I wasn't speeding.
Thank you.
But if you go down the bottom of the cross hatch there, bottom of that, off to the west, there's that tree there next to that house. You see this guy right here? That is really, 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 really bushy now. And when you're heading north or heading south, that is blind. So I rolled up on a couple that were walking. They shouldn't have been walking on the street because there's some dirt off to the shoulder, but I didn't see them. I didn't see them until I was on them. And I don't know if there's something that we can let Steve know, or something's going to happen there. It just will, because you cannot see south until you come around that curve, and then you can see it. But anyway,
thank you. I'll note that. We'll actually send our code enforcement guys out.
That would be great. Yep. If there's anything we can do.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions?
My only other question is the conceptual photo or picture you showed at the end. That is just a part of this preliminary process, but once everything moves, wherever it moves forward or not, then we would have more information as things move forward, correct? This wouldn't necessarily be how the lot is going to be built upon. This is just a concept.
With the one lot subdivision, we're going to be pretty close to where we're going to be. Yeah, we've identified a buildable area. Again, with a larger subdivision, there might be some give and take, but because it's just constrained by the boundaries of that one lot. So it's going to be pretty close to what you'll see as we go through the remainder of the process.
So then my question is just about those corner pieces that are in the red. Is this because the house size that is desired is that large, or would there be any requirements because of the sloping for none of the structure to be built on that red part?
Our current ordinance allows the structure to be built within that 30% slope area, so it could be. That's going to be subject to those recommendations in the geotechnical report, but that is the area that they proposed for encroachment. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. We are, just for your information, we're going through a comprehensive look at our sensitive lands ordinance. Our third-party geotechnical engineer is actually reviewing that with us, and you'll be seeing that, we hope, within the next couple of months for your first review to look at how we're reviewing some of these things, some changes that would be, hopefully make things, as streamlined as we can, although we want to make sure we still have a lot of good review, but also specifying some things like this, like where are there areas that are just completely inappropriate for construction. But right now we do allow, with mitigation, construction on over 30% slopes. Yep.
And Councilmember Bloxham, just to follow up to your question on why third-party engineers, our ordinance specifies that when it's necessary that qualified geotechnical engineers will be involved, and that development staff will rely on our geotech advisors. So it's kind of built into our ordinance and contemplated that way.
So I have just one quick question, because I know how critical it is that we vet these lots out, especially in the sensitive lands issue, because of past history of, having some homes slide and actually is having to displace people from their homes. But in this particular area, I know that there's a lot of springs that come off that mountain. And that's what really kind of ends up making these homes shift. And the geotech will be able to pick up on any of those natural springs, right? So I mean, this is really truly just a precautionary step for us to take to make sure that we're doing all we can to protect that homeowner.
Yeah, it's to protect current and future homeowners or owners of the property. And yes, that's one of the things they look at is they look at several factors: soil type, fault locations, if it's located anywhere near a fault line. They look at springs, any kind of groundwater are issues that they would all look at. They dig a variety of test pits to see what kind of things are going on underground as well. So that being said, you'll see throughout these reports they do the best they can, but that's why we have requirements such as we want to be there when you excavate your foundation so that we can observe what's actually there when you start digging on that site. So there can be sometimes when they start digging that they find an unexpected soil type, for example, that they didn't know would be there, or they call it perched groundwater. Sometimes water does funny things and it gets between a clay layer and a sand layer and it sits there. So that's why it's important that as we go through this process, we continue to review and look at these lots.
Okay, I'm ready. Anybody else have any other questions? Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. I think, council, do you want to, the purpose of tonight's meeting is it's a consent item, and I feel like I need to make it known that I think this really shows the dedication of this council and myself on willing to meet tonight and even though we have one item on this agenda, but we will really want to make sure that we're representing our residents and willing to come in, because typically we could have postponed this until 2 weeks from now. But I'm just want to say thank you, council, for doing your homework on this. And I think that, it's been presented tonight, and I think we've got good answers from all your questions. So if you're willing to go ahead and take action on this item, I would entertain that.
I move that we accept the consent item A, concept plan for Anderson's Legacy subdivision as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second that we accept the plan as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. That passes unanimously. So this is hopefully the homeowner can now go ahead and make the progress they need to proceed with their dream home.
You'll see this twice more. We'll have a preliminary and a final, but because of the nature of this being a small, just one lot subdivision, that should go fairly quickly. So you'll probably see this fairly quickly.
Okay,
Can I ask a question to Chad real fast? We've
Sure.
already passed it.
Yeah.
Since now we've passed it, I want to ask about some of the changes that you were anticipating from the
Yeah.
sensitive lands ordinance. What things are you seeing that we need to tighten up?
One of the things we've looked at, we recently made some changes to our street standards. We want to make sure that our sensitive lands ordinance is now consistent with those street standards. That's one of the things we want to look at. We do want to look at this idea of where is it really appropriate to build? Are we by allowing, even with mitigation on some of these steeper slopes, is that the best practice? So there are other communities that just say we're not going to allow for building on 30% slopes at all. That's just a restricted area. So that's one thing that we're looking very closely at. There is mitigation, certainly, but that's just something we have to decide as a community if we feel like that's enough, or if we feel like some areas just are appropriate not to be touched at all. So that's going to be one big part of it. Another part of it, we need to tighten up our definitions of how we calculate average slope for a property. That sometimes is a little bit tricky, and we sometimes have folks that want to count that after we've graded the lot, and it's not as clear as we'd like it to be. That shouldn't be happening after we grade the lot. We should be doing average slope before we touch and start to manipulate that lot. So that's just a couple examples of many. We've got, I was going to say dozens, but it's probably hundreds of pages of example ordinance we've been going through with our consultant, trying to figure out what's the best fit for Layton, and also some things that are just best practices by this geotechnical firm that sees a lot of cities. So,
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay, council. There's no unfinished business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Is it possible for me to say?
Sure.
If you'd like to, but it's passed. Okay, excuse me. Sorry. I failed to mention earlier that under a public hearing, or I mean, when we listen to our citizen comments, we do need you to come up to the podium and state your name. That was my fault.
I'm Nadine Gosland. And Gosland, Nadine.
Nadine
Gosland. We are still in process of purchasing that lot because our offer to buy was contingent on us being able to get a building permit. So when we first made the offer, I went to the county to check the recording of the lot, picked up the plat, came into the city and said, what will it take for us to get a building permit for this lot? And Michelle said, you can't because it isn't a legal lot. So I said, but I have the recording number at the county, and she said it's different. So this process has been almost a year and a half. The lady that's selling it is 85. We're in our mid-70s, so she's 85. She'd like to get out from under this lot. And so we've paid over $30,000 in engineering. They have done cuts. They've done, they've sunk things to test the soil. And you need to know, I think it might be comforting to know that green portion is not a 30% slope. It's quite level. And so the only portion that would be impacted by the slope is just one corner that one of the geotechnical engineers will be on site when the foundation is dug so that they can be sure that we're totally stable. So, we've had 3 engineering reports done. It's been reviewed by Layton City's third-party engineer reviewer. So that's where we're at. And the fire marshal has met with my husband a lot. They just really wanted to be sure that the materials used in the home are not flammable since it's in a nature area.
Good.
Okay, I have just one question, and that's why I'm really here. As we went through all of the conditions that we have to meet for this lot, one of them is an ordinance that the city passed in 2004 regarding Weber water. And I called the water department, and Matthew Meyer at Weber Water said, you're really outside of our service area. He said, nobody east of East Gentile has Weber Water. There's not even a connection there. He said, the only connection that you could access is on the west side of East Gentile, where the golf course runs along and there's a gray house there. He said, there's a connection there. And I said, well, what will it take us if we try to meet that ordinance now to get it across the street? And he said, you're going to have to cut the street. And I said, yep, how much will that cost? And he said, between $5,000 and $10,000, depending on how many utilities. And so I'm really kind of here to beg for some consideration on a variation on that, because of the slope. We're not going to be planting any lawns because where the house will take up the bulk. We plan to xeriscape the front part and then just put wildflowers down the slope. And I thought, we'll spend $10,000 to get water to something we're really not.
Are you talking secondary water?
Yes, Weber.
So it's
irrigation.
Weber Basin colon.
Weber Basin water.
Yeah.
So, and there is an ordinance on the books that was written in 2004. And I guess the other homes on East Gentile, as you go up around the reservoir, are pre-2004. So they are outside of the ordinance anyway. But Matt Meyer said, we're not even on my map because we don't have any lines up there. So I'm just, putting that out there for consideration that maybe you have some mercy on us and see if we can work on some sort of a variance, because it just, for something that we really don't plan to water except for maybe drip lines to some plants. So that's the main thing. So as soon as we can get this recorded, then we'll buy it from, I want to, Mrs. Anderson. I can't think of her name right now. Gwen. She lives in Utah County. But anyway, we can close on the lot and then apply for a building permit, and then we can go through all this again.
Hey, you got a couple more steps here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks.
being here tonight.
Mayor, I was just going to say, if you have an ordinance number, it might be helpful to give it to the attorney here, Jaden,
It's in the, who's
over here on the end.
Are you related to Linda and Hal?
Not that I know of.
No. Okay.
Okay.
The ordinance number is, there's not an ordinance number. Can you see an
Yeah, it's
ordinance
right there,
number? Oh, it's MC 19.23.010.
So we have two more swipes of this
Yeah.
application. You'll see it again 2 more times. So we'll get an answer to that question before that time. My understanding, just limited understanding, this is an engineering requirement, is that was related to the water exaction. Don't think that there's actually a requirement for secondary water. It's just the idea is that if you're going to get secondary water, you need to contact the Weaver Basin Conservation District or Conservancy District. If not, there's still going to be a water exaction required. So, we'll get that sorted out with our engineering department before the next time we see y'all.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I understand. What are the next steps that we
Well,
can expect?
I'd be happy.
If you
after
want,
the
It's been
meeting.
a long time.
Yeah, I'd be happy after the meeting to talk about that with you. Yep.
Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much. Okay. We voted, or I was going to say, I know I acknowledged our meeting tonight, and excuse me, geez. This meeting has been adjourned. It was seconded. Thank you very much. We want to, again, thank everyone for attending tonight's meeting and wish everyone a very pleasant evening. So thank you.